I've been a long-haul truck driver for more than 20 years. Most nights, I like the solitude of the road. A few weeks ago, I was driving late at night along Route 66. The engine hummed and my headlights cut through the thick darkness. But that night felt different. I pulled into an old truck stop to fuel up. It was quiet, too quiet. The flickering lights cast weird shadows, making everything look unsteady. After I filled my rig, something caught my eye. A figure stood by the roadside, dressed in a ragged jacket. I slowed down. Maybe it was a hitchhiker. But as I got close, they vanished, just like that. I shook my head, dismissing it. Maybe I was just tired. A week later, the figure appeared again. I was cruising at about 2 a.m. when I saw them standing near the tree line. My heart sped up. I glanced in my rearview mirror, but they were gone again. Just darkness stared back at me. I told myself I was seeing things. It was the nights on the road messing with my mind. But the sightings kept happening. I started looking over my shoulder more often. I was on the CB radio one night when another driver asked, "Yo, you ever see anything out there?" My palms got sweaty. "Yeah, I think I saw something too," I replied, trying to sound calm. "Just a trick of the light, right? Wasn't it?" Each late-night drive felt heavier, like something was watching me. I couldn't shake the feeling. I tried leaving early, thinking I could avoid what I was seeing. Yet, as much as I tried to escape, I still felt it lurking just outside my sight. A week later, I hit that stretch of road again. I was on edge, waiting. The silence pressed down on me. Then, I saw the figure once more, standing there staring. I stopped my truck, my heart racing. I couldn't move. "Do you need help?" I called out. No answer. I blinked, and they were gone. My skin prickled with fear. I looked back at my truck and turned again. This time, there was a shadow nearby. I whipped around, but there was nothing. My heart pounded as that chilling sense of dread spiked. I drove for miles without seeing anything else, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I'd roll down the windows to feel the night air on my skin, trying to shake the images from my mind. Last night, I drove that same road again. I was convinced I'd left the weirdness behind, but as I passed where I usually see the figure, my stomach dropped. Should I stop? The road was empty and haunting. I fearfully asked myself if these sightings were real or just a product of my exhaustion. Had I seen something out there, or was it all just in my head? Whatever it was, I couldn't run from it anymore. The highway stretched on, dark and endless, and so did my fear. I hit the road again, trying to shake the unease that had settled in my bones. I wanted to forget the figure and just drive. But every mile felt charged, like something was watching me, just out of view. My eyes scanned the trees more than the road. It was late, around midnight. I turned the radio to drown out my thoughts, but even the music felt hollow. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it, a flicker of movement, just up ahead. My heart sank. Not again. I knew I shouldn't stop, but my foot hovered over the brake. Curiosity and fear twisted in my gut. I decided to keep driving. After all, maybe it was all in my head. The road was familiar, yet somehow sinister. A dark stretch of pavement loomed in front of me, framed by towering trees. I told myself to stay focused, so I did. But then I saw something that made my blood run cold. A trio of figures stood on the side of the road, barely visible in the dim light. I thought I was hallucinating. 3? I rubbed my eyes, thinking it was just fatigue messing with my vision. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Just the shadows," I whispered to myself, but I couldn't shake the fear. As I approached, they stepped into the beam of my headlights. Their faces were obscured, lost in the darkness. But their eyes, those were clear. They were locked onto me, hollow and empty. My stomach dropped. Suddenly, one of them raised an arm, pointing directly at my truck. My breath caught in my throat. I hit the brakes, skidding to a stop. The engine rumbled, but it felt louder than the silence that surrounded me. "Hey, do you need help?" I shouted again, my voice shaky. No response, just silence. I fumbled for my CB radio, hoping to reach someone for reassurance, but there was only static. Panic clutched at my chest. I looked back at the figures, expecting them to have vanished like before, but they hadn't moved an inch. "Get moving," I told myself. I threw the gear into drive and slammed the accelerator. I wasn't sticking around to find out more. I sped past them, the darkness swallowing them as I drove away. But that didn't soothe my racing heart. I glanced at the rearview mirror, expecting to see nothing. Instead, I saw one of them running after me, arms flailing in a terrible, unnatural way. I swerved, nearly losing control of the truck. As I drove faster, my eyes darted to the road ahead. The lights flickered again. This time, something was off. I squinted. The trees began to blur, growing taller and more twisted, like they were reaching for me. Then, everything went dark. The headlights flickered and died, leaving me in total blackness. My heart pounded in my ears. I tried the ignition, but the truck sputtered. No sound, no light. I was stranded. Fear washed over me. I scanned the darkness, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. I knew I wasn't alone. That sensation was back, stronger than ever. I needed to find a way out. The night felt alive, its silent whispers crawling under my skin. I took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. This wasn't just exhaustion. Something was out there, and it was coming for me. I sat in the silence, the darkness wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. It was hard to breathe with the tightness in my chest. Alone, I felt small, like a mouse caught in a predator's gaze. I knocked on the steering wheel, hoping to summon some courage, but all I got was the echo of my pulse pounding in my ears. With shaking hands, I reached for the flashlight under my seat. Fumbling, I finally grabbed it and turned it on. A beam of light sliced through the black, illuminating the interior of my truck. I could see my breath as it fogged the air. This wasn't just a night without lights. It felt like the whole world had been swallowed. I peered out of the window, half expecting to see the figures closing in on me, the ones I thought I had escaped. But the road was empty. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows across the pavement. I had to get out of here. I climbed out of the truck, the cold air biting at my skin. My flashlight flickered across the ground, unstable like my mind. I thought I'd walk a little to clear my head, to find some kind of signal. Maybe someone would come by. Maybe I'd get lucky. But as I stepped away from the truck, something shifted in the darkness. A rustle. My heart stopped. I swung the flashlight to the left, the beam catching on something just beyond the tree line. I froze. "Hello?" My voice cracked in the stillness. Nothing answered, just the wind whispering through the branches. I took a hesitant step forward, heart racing. Then I heard it again, a low, guttural sound that sent icy fingers crawling up my spine. It was close. I turned to run back to my truck, but something caught my ankle. I stumbled and fell, the beam of light slipping from my grasp. Panic clawed at my throat as I scrambled to get up. Just then, the flashlight flickered back into view, illuminating a figure standing just outside the circle of light. My breath hitched. It was one of them, the one who had pointed at me. But this time, it was different. It was closer, more tangible. "Help me," it whispered, voice barely above a breath, but chilling enough to freeze my blood. I scrambled back, desperation flooding my veins. I needed to get to safety. I spotted my truck and lunged for it, my body screaming in protest. I fumbled with the door handle, desperate to get inside. As the figure slowly stepped toward me, its features still hidden, but that voice echoing in my mind. When I finally made it inside, I slammed the door shut and locked it. I glanced back. Nothing. The tree line was still, but I could feel it watching me. My breath came fast and shallow. I knew I had to start the truck, but I hesitated, the engine still silent. Then I heard it again, that same whisper, closer this time. "Help me." I turned, wide-eyed to the window, half expecting to see the figure there, its face mere inches from me. But nothing appeared. Yet I could feel the weight of that plea pressing against me, suffocating. Just as I started to fumble for my keys, a loud knock resounded on the passenger side. I jerked, my heart racing again. I turned slowly, dread pooling in my stomach. There it was. The figure stood just outside, staring into my soul. The headlights flickered one last time, then went out. All I had left was the cold light of my flashlight. The next moment would change everything. I strained to hear anything beyond the thump of my heart. The figure stood just outside, an apparition now etched in my mind. Its voice lingered in the air, soft yet haunting. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was waiting for something, and not just for me to act. I racked my brain, looking for answers, and at that moment, all I could think was that I needed to start the truck and drive away. But the keys seemed so far away, taunting me. "Why won't you help me?" The voice came again, this time louder, more insistent. It felt as if the words were crawling into the truck, wrapping around me. I turned to the dashboard, my fingers trembling as I rifled through the mess to find the keys. They slipped through my grip and clattered to the floor. "Come on," I whispered, panic rising. The figure outside began to move. I could barely see it through the small window, but its outline twisted and shifted, coming closer to the light. I could see its hands now, fingers extending like claws towards me. I finally found the keys and fumbled them into the ignition. With a deep breath, I twisted the metal, praying that the truck would roar to life. But it caught for a painful moment before sputtering. I slammed my hand against the steering wheel in frustration. The figure didn't flinch, it just stared, its face still hidden. "Help me, please," it repeated, this time tinged with desperation. Suddenly, the flashlight dimmed, leaving only a faint glow illuminating the corners of my truck. I yanked the key again, grinding my teeth, cursing my luck. "No, no," I muttered. The headlights flickered back to life, casting shadows across the ground outside. The figure was still there, but now there was something off about it. I squinted at its silhouette. A hint, a recognition clawed at the back of my mind. It wasn't just a figure from my past. It felt like something more. I needed to see its face. In a flash of courage, I took a deep breath and swung the door open, my heart racing. I stepped one foot out, flashlight in hand, determined to face whatever nightmare awaited. "What do you want?" I blurted out. But the moment I stepped out, the ground beneath me shifted. I stumbled, losing my footing. The figure recoiled, and in that instant, the flashlight beam caught its face. Pale, gaunt, eyes wide and pleading. It wasn't just a stranger, it was someone I knew, and terror flooded my veins. "Why are you here? What do you want?" I gasped, realization hitting me like a punch. I wasn't just facing a ghost, it was someone I had cared about, someone I thought was gone. The figure extended its hands toward me, but just as it did, a sound rang out, a low, grinding noise from the direction of the trees. The underbrush shifted, and another figure emerged, this one darker, more menacing. My breath caught. I was not alone in this torment. I had unwittingly drawn something else out into the light. I slammed the truck door and scrambled back inside, panic overtaking me again. I turned the key with shaking hands, praying the engine would finally roar to life. But just as the engine sputtered, the other figure stepped closer. My entire world was teetering on the edge. and I felt like I was drowning in darkness. The last glimmer of hope vanished as I prepared for whatever came next, knowing now that the true horror was just beginning. The engine sputtered again, then fell deathly silent. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I felt a wave of terror wash over me. The figure outside was getting closer, and the darkness around it seemed to pulse as if alive. I threw another desperate glance at the dashboard, praying for the lights to stay on, for any sign of life in the old truck. "Why won't you help me?" The familiar voice broke through the panic, clawing at my mind. I wanted to scream back that I didn't understand, that I couldn't help, but the words got stuck in my throat. The shadow behind the first figure loomed larger, its presence suffocating. It moved with an unnatural grace, and I could see its eyes glinting like dead stars in the darkness. Everything screamed at me to flee, yet something held me there, rooted with fear. The first figure stepped back into the light. I recognized the pallor of their skin, the way their mouth opened but no sound came out. They seemed like a whisper in the wind, lost and bound to something darker. I forced myself to breathe, fighting the urge to cower in the seat. "Who are you?" I shouted, fighting the tightening in my chest. "What do you want from me?" For a moment, silence hung in the air, thick and palpable. The shadowed figure didn't move, but I could sense it pulling closer. The first figure, the one I knew, raised a hand. It looked fragile, like it might shatter if I dared to reach for it. I felt a tug of memory. Late-night conversations, shared dreams turned to nightmares. A sound broke my reverie, branches cracking from new movement, loud and unforgiving. Panic surged again. This was no ordinary encounter. I had stirred a darkness that was never meant to awaken. I had to find a way out. My eyes darted around the interior of the truck, scanning for anything I could use. There was a crowbar on the floor next to a rusty toolbox. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. I couldn't just sit here waiting for whatever this thing wanted. As I reached for the crowbar, my gaze fell on the first figure again. The pleading in their eyes was too familiar, and the desperation flooded me with a strange urgency. "I can help you," I shouted, half in hope and half in terror. But then the second figure surged forward with a speed that seemed supernatural. Its mouth opened wide, revealing a gaping void instead of a face. A shroud of darkness threatened to consume everything around it. "Get away!" I yelled, swinging the crowbar in its direction. My heart raced as I braced myself for impact, but just as I was about to strike, the world around me shifted. The truck shook violently, and the interior lights flickered, plunging me into near blackness. That's when I saw it, a glimmer of something in the back seat. A message scrawled in what looked like dried blood. "They're not what they seem." The words chilled me to the bone, and my breath quickened. This was more than I bargained for, and I felt the weight of 1,000 unresolved questions pressing down on me. Before I could process it all, the engine finally roared to life, a welcomed sound amid the chaos. I slammed my foot on the gas, ready to drive away from the horror, but the darkness seemed to close in, and I knew deep down that whatever was lurking wouldn't let me go that easily. The engine roared, drowning out my thoughts, but the relief was short-lived. The truck lurched forward, momentum carrying me into the unknown. I glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the figures chasing after me, but the darkness clung to the road behind, hideous and still. My heart raced as I gripped the wheel. Every shadow along the roadside felt like a deceptive threat waiting to swallow me. I couldn't shake the echo of that voice, pleading, desperate. "Why won't you help me?" It gnawed at my mind like a relentless itch. I focused on the road, my breath coming in quick bursts. I needed to think clearly, but how could I when dread clung to me like a heavy fog? The dim headlights pierced the void ahead, revealing little more than struggling trees and their gnarled branches. Nothing in this backwoods stretch of road felt safe. The message from the back seat flickered in my memory. They're not what they seem. Suddenly, my headlights caught something on the side of the road. A figure stood there, motionless. A woman, drenched in shadow. Panic surged through me again, but this time I felt a strange pull. I couldn't tell if it was empathy or something darker enticing me to stop. I slowed down, my instincts screaming that it was a trap. The woman stepped closer, the light illuminating her face briefly. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. Her eyes held a deep sadness, and once more, I felt that unsettling familiarity wash over me. "What's wrong?" I called out, half out the window. "Do you need help?" Her lips began to move, but no sound came out. Instead, she pointed down the road, her expression shifting from longing to panic. My heart dropped. Was I being lured in? Before I could decide if I should drive away, the atmosphere shifted again. The air seemed to thicken with electricity, and the truck's headlights flickered ominously. I could barely breathe as I felt a weight pressing on my chest. It was worse than before. Then another sound pierced the night, a low growl, raspy and unnatural. The woman's face contorted in fear, her gaze darting behind me. I swung my head back, heart hammering, expecting to find the darkness morphing into something monstrous. Instead, I saw nothing, just the empty road reflecting my rising terror. I turned back to her. "What's back there?" Before she could respond, the growl echoed again, now closer, like a warning growl from something crouched low in the shadows. I shifted in the seat, ready to bolt, but I couldn't shake the urge to know more. In a sudden panic, I reached for the crowbar. My fingers trembled against the cold metal, but I held it tightly. "I can help you," I shouted into the void, daring whatever lurked nearby to show itself. Then she opened her mouth again. This time, words flowed out like a broken dam. "You have to run." That single command sent a shockwave through me. I didn't need to be told twice. I slammed my foot on the gas, the tires spinning on the gravel before I tore down that desolate road, leaving the woman and the growl behind. But as I sped away, the feeling of being hunted prickled at my neck. And just like that, foreboding visions consumed my mind. The road became a nightmarish blur, but I knew I wasn't running fast enough. I was still trapped in the grip of the unknown, and whatever had awakened was now hunting me. Then I made a fateful decision. I would find a way to break this cycle, even if it meant confronting whatever lay ahead. The engine growled as I barreled down the road, but every thump against the asphalt sent jolts of urgency through my body. My hands shook on the wheel, and I couldn't shake the memory of that woman's eyes. There was a truth hidden in her panic. My pulse quickened, a rhythm of dread matching the pounding engine. I glanced around, but the trees lining the road only added to the oppressive feeling. At any moment, I feared something would lunge into the light, ready to drag me back into the darkness. I drove faster, praying for any sign of civilization ahead. The isolation stretched endlessly, the silence wrapping around me like a shroud. Then, up ahead, I spotted a flicker of light. A worn sign swung in the wind. "Welcome to Hollow Creek," it read. Relief surged through me, but I knew better than to trust it completely. I slowed, the truck's tires crunching on gravel as I approached what appeared to be a ghost town lost in time. Windows were boarded, paint chipped, and not a single soul stirred on the sidewalks. I stopped in front of what looked like an old diner, its neon sign flickering hesitantly. My gut twisted. I felt like an unwelcome guest in a place that hid too many secrets. But my body screamed for a moment of safety. I needed to catch my breath and figure out my next move. I pushed open the door, the hinges squeaking in protest. The inside felt frozen, dust dancing in the air from the old ceiling fan. Half-empty coffee cups sat abandoned on the counter, and I could see a table set for customers who never came. A chill ran down my spine. It was as if time had ceased the moment everyone disappeared. "Hello?" I called, my voice a weak tremor against the eerie stillness. Nothing responded, except for the echo of my own words. I moved deeper into the diner, my eyes scanning the walls lined with old photographs, pictures of families, smiling and carefree. They looked like they were frozen in another era, but something felt off. Their smiles seemed forced, and every eye appeared to follow me with an unsettling intent. I swallowed hard, the weight of their gazes heavy upon my shoulders. Then I spotted it, a flicker of movement in the corner of my eye. Instinctively, I whipped around, ready to defend myself with the crowbar still strapped to my side. But all I found was a shadow, just beyond the edge of my vision. I blinked, and it was gone, leaving me wondering if I had imagined it. After a few deep breaths, I approached the counter. Maybe there was something useful, a phone, a clue, anything. That's when I noticed something glistening beneath the old menu. I knelt, heart thudding, and pulled out a compact mirror. When I turned it over, the back was scratched but still gleamed slightly in the dim light. As I ran my fingers over the surface, I found something etched into it. Letters. "Don't look behind you." Chills raced down my spine. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the diner. I jolted upright, adrenaline surging through me. Was I truly alone in this desolate place? I took a step back, debating whether to run or to investigate. That growl from before lingered in my mind, but I couldn't just ignore the sound. I gripped the crowbar tighter, inching toward the source of the noise. As I neared the door to the back, I hesitated. With a deep breath, I pushed it open, stepping into the unknown. For a brief moment, I saw something lurking in the shadows, a figure not entirely human, before the lights flickered out completely, leaving me in darkness. And then, everything went silent. The silence was suffocating. I stood there, heart pounding, trying to adjust to the pitch black around me. My senses heightened. I could hear the faint hum of my own breath, the distant creaking of the diner settling beneath the weight of time. The sense of isolation was like a living thing, pressing against me from all sides. I lifted the crowbar, my hands trembling just slightly, and took a cautious step forward. I reached out, fingers brushing against the wall, feeling the cool paint and debris with every inch I moved. Shadows danced, shifting and morphing as I navigated the darkness. Suddenly, there was another noise, a scrape from behind me. I froze, my breath caught in my throat as I turned slowly, hoping to catch a glimpse of the source. All I could see were the remnants of the diner, worn and forsaken like the town outside. I wasn't alone anymore. "Who's there?" I called, my voice breaking the silence. It felt foolish, but I had to know. Another sound, a whisper, creeping and eerie, seemed to twirl around me, brushing against my earlobe. I strained to hear, but all I caught were fragments, as if someone was speaking in a language I didn't know. My heart raced. I didn't want to know what lurked beyond the darkness. I took another step, my instincts screaming at me to flee, but a part of me needed answers. The whispered fragments faded, replaced by a soft shuffling sound. It came closer, deliberate. Panic surged through me, and I gripped the crowbar tighter, prepared to strike. Then, without warning, the lights flickered back on, bathing the room in a harsh, sterile glow. My breath hitched. There, in front of me, stood a figure, shrouded in shadow, their face obscured. It was human, or at least it looked that way. Something was wrong with it. "Stop," the figure said, voice a low rasp that sent chills down my spine. "You shouldn't be here." I took a step back, seeking distance. "Who are you?" The shadowed figure shifted, stepping into the light, revealing a hunched back and hollow eyes that stared right through me. I felt as if I were looking into the depths of a void. "This diner is cursed," they offered, their voice a haunting echo. "You've awakened something." "What?" I couldn't process the implications. I glanced around, my mind racing. Was it the diner? Or was it something else? Something that had followed me, drawn by fear or desperation? Before I could ask more, the lights blinked again, and the figure's expression shifted. It was fleeting, but their face contorted into something grotesque. I stumbled backward, the crowbar slipping from my grip, clattering to the floor. "Get out!" they shouted suddenly, their voice now a frantic shriek. "Before it's too late!" And just like that, the lights went out once more, plunging me into the darkness. Chaos erupted around me, furniture crashing, something moving in the shadows. My breath came fast as I turned and ran, emotions colliding with each hurried step. Then, as I reached the door, I caught one last glimpse behind me. The figure reached out a hand, but its form twisted, elongating into something dark and unfathomable. I threw open the door, bursting into the night, the heaviness of dread chasing me as I sprinted toward my truck. But even as I raced, a nagging feeling wormed its way into my thoughts. Whatever had washed over that diner wasn't going to let me go so easily. I needed to get out, but deep down, I knew I had only begun to scratch the surface of this nightmare. Whatever secrets Hollow Creek held were far from buried. The true horror wasn't the diner or the figure. It was what was waiting for me outside. With my heart pounding, I fumbled for the keys, ready to escape, unaware that something was already behind me once more. I felt a presence before I even turned around. A chill raced down my spine, like icy fingers tracing my back. It was the same sensation I had in the diner, amplified now by the open night air and the vastness around me. I didn't dare look behind me. Instead, I fumbled with the keys, my hands trembling. Come on, I whispered, urging the metal to fit into the lock. The sound of my own voice felt absurd, almost like a last-ditch attempt to convince myself I was still in control. I finally got the key to turn, and I flung the door open, diving into the truck's cab. I slammed the door shut and locked it. My breath hitched as I turned my head to check the back seat. Nothing. My heart thudded against my ribcage. Ignoring the pounding panic, I turned the ignition, praying for the engine to roar to life. Instead, there was only silence. My stomach dropped. No! I slammed my fist against the steering wheel, the sound echoing in the stillness of the night. I tried again, twisting the key, but only the same empty sputter greeted me. There was no way. I needed to get out of here. I held back tears of frustration. Then, I remembered the figure's words. Their frantic plea, "Before it's too late." But what did that even mean? Out there was nothing but darkness and trees that loomed like sentinels, guarding whatever terror was haunting me. I glanced out the window. The shadows shifting merged into the night. And just as I did, I caught sight of something moving in the periphery, thin limbs darting between the trees. I barely had time to register my fear before I heard the first knock on the window. It came softly, but insistently. I turned, dread pooling in my stomach. There stood a woman, her face obscured by messy hair that hung in front of her eyes. She appeared fragile, yet there was something captivating about her, something that beckoned me to roll down the window. But my instinct screamed otherwise. "Help me!" she cried, her voice raw and panicked. "It's coming for me!" Panic washed over me as I locked my gaze on her, uncertainty tightening its grip. My uncle used to say, "Don't open the door until you know it's safe." But how could I ignore her desperation? "Who's coming?" I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. But instead of answering, she took a step closer, and that's when I saw it. A figure lurking behind her, half-formed in the dim light. My breath caught. The woman turned to look back, her expression twisting into terror. "Run!" That was all it took. I flipped the locks and shoved open the door, half of me determined to confront whatever was threatening her, the other half screaming at me to escape. I was met with a gust of wind that felt alive, pushing me backward. The woman grabbed my arm, and I felt a rush of fear and adrenaline. Together, we stumbled back. But then, the darkness shifted again. The malevolent figure charged forward, a shape moving unnaturally in the shadows, a form that twisted and stretched. I didn't wait to see what it was capable of. I yanked my arm away from the woman, clambering into the truck's cab as I shouted, "Get in!" I heard her cry out, but the sound was smothered by the growing chaos. With the truck door wide open, I fought to start the engine again as the figure loomed closer. If I didn't get it going this time, we would be trapped. But just then, I spotted something shining on the passenger seat. A small silver locket, abandoned. It flickered in the faint light like a beacon, and I felt an urge to take it. That brief hesitation cost me. Everything went dark again, the headlights flickering like a dying star. I felt a sensation of weightlessness, as if the very air was being sucked away. Then I saw her, the woman's face silhouetted against the blackness, etched with a fear I couldn't ignore as I reached for the locket. But as I touched it, everything shattered. I didn't know where it had taken us, but I could feel the shadows pressing. Whatever was outside had found a way in, and this nightmare was just beginning. I opened my eyes to find myself lying in a field, the air soft and warm, with the gentle rustle of grass whispering around me. Confusion swirled in my mind, and I blinked up at a sky painted in vibrant hues of twilight. Had I escaped? Was I still alive? But the relief didn't linger. Images of the truck, the diner, and that chilling figure clawed at my memories, refusing to fade. I sat up, grasping the ground beneath me, grounding myself after the chaos of the last moments. My heart raced as I scanned the horizon, praying for a familiar landmark, a sign of civilization. The field stretched on endlessly, bordered by thick woods that seemed to close in on me. A chill ghosted across my skin, and then I heard it, the soft, persistent call echoing through the landscape. "Help me." Panic shot through my veins. I shot to my feet, dizzy but driven by instinct. I stumbled toward the voice, half wishing I could drown it out, half determined to confront whatever haunted me. I pushed through the grass, the sky darkening above me, suffocated by clouds that swirled ominously overhead. As I approached the tree line, I hesitated. The voice grew stronger, more insistent, pulling me deeper into the shadows. Fear wrapped its hands around my throat, but I couldn't turn back. I had to know. "Who are you?" I shouted into the trees. "What do you want from me?" In response, the wind howled, rustling the leaves maniacally. A figure stepped forward from the depths, the very one that had chased me in the diner. My stomach twisted as memories flooded back, recalling the hollow eyes and that desperate plea. "Help me," it called again, but this time I recognized the voice from somewhere beyond the fear. "Why?" I shouted, voice tinged with both anger and grief, fighting against the pull to help it and the instinct to flee. "Why should I trust you?" But it didn't answer. The figure merely stood there, twisting, a shadow turned monstrous by light. In its eyes, I saw flickers of familiarity, vague reflections of friends lost, of kindness once shared, and under it all, a deep-seated pain. I staggered back, mind racing, Had I caused this? Was it my fault that darkness had seeped into their life? "Please," the figure murmured again, voice thick with anguish. "You must help me break free." I felt the ground beneath shift slightly, the weight of the trees leaning closer, as if they were listening to our exchange. I wanted to refuse, to run away, but something softened within me. I couldn't leave it like this, not after everything. "I will help, but how?" I managed, barely able to force the words out. The figure retreated, shadows swirling like smoke around it. "You must face the past," it whispered. "Only then can we break the cycle." My heart hammered in my chest. Time slowed as I looked around, memories flooding my senses. The truck, the road, a name floated to the surface, something I'd buried ever since it happened. It was my fault, and now it was back with a vengeance. "Who are you?" I choked out. "What happened to you?" "Everything is connected," the figure responded, crystalline rage blending with heartbreak. "You need to confront what you've ignored." Before I could think, the earth shifted again. The darkness pressed in, and the landscape warped around me like a horrible mirage. I felt it, the power that pulled me back toward my past, inescapable and visceral. I staggered, heart racing, as images spilled into my mind. Faces, laughter, life before everything burned. "Wait!" I called, reaching after the figure as it faded away into the darkness. But it was too late. I was consumed by the void that had haunted me since that fateful night, sucked into shadows that whispered familiar, forgotten names. The weight of guilt bore down, and I was lost once again. As everything crumbled to darkness, one question echoed through my thoughts. Had I truly escaped, or was the cycle just beginning again?